Welcome to Harry Potter and the Anxious Millennials, a show where we delve week by week into each chapter of the Harry Potter series. Ari, this week we read chapter 36 called The Parting of the Ways, or as I like to call it, the longest chapter that I didn't realize was long.
Yeah, it's very long. It is very long.
Every other one, we were very like, oh, we know this is long. And then halfway through, I was like, this is only halfway through? I'm only halfway through with this chapter?
I know. I was like, oh, this is still going. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to...
Jim Dale had a workout today.
I have so many notes that I'm just trying to figure out how do I even... What's the best way to like have this window open? Maybe like that. I'm sorry if my eye line looks weird, listeners. Viewers. Listeners can't see.
Listeners can't see. They can only listen. Ari, what happens in the chapter?
This chapter, in this chapter, Dumbledore... Oh, God. Where do we start? Harry tells Dumbledore like it is. And Dumbledore's like, yes. Dumbledore tells Fudge like it is. And Fudge is like, no.
No. In fact, absolutely not. Is really the energy Cornelius Fudge gives.
There is a part of me that there is a part of me that fully believes that this could have been 2 chapters. The way that this is separated, I feel like it could have been. Part where
it is it is like 2 parts to a chapter.
Yeah. That's what happens. In the first section, Harry relives the event. In the second section, Dumbledore tells Fudge what's up, and Fudge is having none of it. There's not really like a summary of everything. Shit hits the fan, maybe.
Of the 2 parts of the chapter, which is your preferred part of the chapter? Like, which one do you think is better?
I do like all of it. I think probably more of the second part when we really get to see Albus Dumbledore be like, "Hey, bitch."
Yeah. I think the first part is good because it's all being explained, and then the things that you don't know yet the first time you read it are explained by Albus, like why things happened.
Right.
So that's great. But like the real drama of the chapter is
Corny. Miss Ma'am Corny.
Corny Collins.
Corny Collins. He's here with the latest, greatest. So
Baltimore.
Wait, what is after that? That's like what they sing.
Yeah.
They have all those little doo-wop sounds. My first note of this chapter is Dumbledore is like, "You're trash," and ties him up. And by "you're trash," I'm referring to Junior. So then Albus asks Minerva to guard him. And then he asks Severus to get Poppy to take care of the real Moody. We find out later in this chapter that apparently they just left Winky here.
Yeah.
Sobbing her eyes out?
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, Albus. I don't think you're a very good person. What is this? You left this house elf?
I mean, she's a house elf, so it's okay to forget about her. You know what I mean?
We joke about things like that a lot, but like, actually, what are you doing? Like, I am just like,
you know,
of course you don't. Anyways, so
Severus would it have been in that moment to like send for Dobby to take her back to the kitchens?
That's what I'm saying. I think Joe forgot about her. I don't think it's really Albus in the end. She was like, "Oh right, yeah," and then Winky's there. So after Dumbledore asks Severus to go get Poppy to take care of the real Moody, Harry stands up and then remembers that his leg is injured because apparently he had like an adrenaline rush while Junior was talking and didn't remember. So Albus gently asks Harry to come up to his office and tells him that Sirius is there, which that was where... Was it Minerva? Yeah, Minerva went and got Sirius in cat form, canon. and they scurried up to Dumbledore's office.
Can I say something about Harry's broken leg or whatever the fuck is wrong with Harry?
Yeah, it's gotta be a twisted ankle, right? He's still standing on it.
That was over a month ago that happened.
Oh, with Us for Us?
Yes. And it's very funny to think about it like that because, I mean, it probably has been at least 2 hours.
2 hours,
since
I would
he
say.
broke his leg.
I agree.
But it's crazy.
It is crazy that they didn't just like give him a splint or something. Like Albus is like, come up to my office, walk up my wraparound staircase of 50 stairs to come see your godfather.
We don't do elevators here, as we've discussed on this podcast.
We won't just walk into a fireplace and then walk into the fireplace of another room either. Crazy. Who would think of that?
I can't.
So,
or we already know that there's a spell which will float a body along with you. They used it on Snape last year.
You're right. Yeah. Why didn't he just toddle Harry? Harry, little bobblehead Harry needs to just. Anyway, I don't know what this is about, but Harry is totally fine with all of this. Harry is like, I'm in denial. The stage of grief that I am in is denial.
Honey, He's like, Egypt? Because I'm in denial, honey.
He doesn't want to like be still for a minute and like, you know what? Fine. This is the first trauma reaction we've seen Harry have. And after having 3 traumatic experiences that he can remember, more than that, if we're counting like the Quidditch bullshit, but just 3.
Even more than that, if we're counting being kept in a cupboard by his aunt and uncle.
Yes.
Like,
no, 100%. 100%.
Girl, he had like 3 in this book.
The tasks. We're not even mentioning the tasks. If we're just talking about his experiences with Lord Voldemort.
Yeah, right.
He's had so many. If we're talking about everything else, then we've lost track, honey. This child has had a very traumatic life. So this is the one that does him in. This is too much. So he goes up to Albus's office, study, tower. Where is he? He's in a tower. And right away, Sirius, is kind of frantically trying to get Harry to tell him what happened and if he's okay. And I love that Fawkes is present during this situation because the energy that Fawkes is giving me is like drag mother comforting their drag daughter, being like, "Let me take care of you, mama. Like, come here, girl."
What's her name in Pose?
Oh my gosh. And no.
The mother of the House of Abundance.
Wait, now I'm so mad I don't remember. Dominique? Yeah, Dominique Jackson. Electra. The House of Electra. Yeah, Dominique Jackson. Yes. Fawkes is just very like, let me take care of you. I am here for you. Harry knows it's coming, that Albus is going to ask him to relive everything that happened that night. And I just love that it was like, Dumbledore was like, Harry, you know what I'm going to have to ask you to do, okay? I need you to tell me how everything went down tonight. And then Fawkes is just like, what? To which Harry is like, yeah, okay, I can tell you.
Harry received strength from that note. That high C sharp gave him great strength.
Fox is such a mood in this scene. He just flutters over, is like, I got you, baby. Then he just is like, ah! And then he cries on his knee. Like,
yeah.
Oh, it's great. Why does this look so bright all of a sudden?
It's even better if it's like Fox is like, you need strength. Here we go. Come back to stairs. Do you feel better?
I just love, like, if you're just focusing on Fox in the scene is so great. And then like at some point
Fox doesn't speak English either. Like,
oh my God, wait, that's even better. Fox had no idea that it was like a tense moment. He just like was like, this is my moment. It's quiet for a second.
Yes! Work!
Doesn't read the room.
How you doing?
Cannot read the room at all. It's just like, yeah, we're having a party. Harry's back. Sirius is here. Slay!
Oh my God. So stupid.
Oh, that's so funny. I'm literally crying. Oh, in his mind, he's like, we're having a party. He probably was like, oh my gosh, all these cool people are here with me. Hey, guys. And then like, it's kind of like a downer. So he's like, let me lighten up the mood. Anyway,
it's
okay.
real awkward in here.
I can't keep talking about it because it's so funny to me. Oh, that's so funny. I hope you guys thought that was funny too. Because that was a long bit. Oh God. So when Harry is reliving, notes. When Harry is reliving what he experienced in the graveyard, I'm not going to go through all of it because he just see our previous chapter. He's basically read the book, bitch. He's it was just so funny to me. Like, did you not think of that when you were reading it?
Not specifically, but I did make a note when it happened because at this point I was listening to the chapter and I was like, oh.
Yeah. So funny. It's just so funny that he did that. And like, it's like, oh, and then Harry, like, I understand it's an ethereal bird. You're like, it's like your emotional support phoenix. I get it.
Yeah.
But when he's recounting what happened in the graveyard, the one moment that I think is important to mention is that when he tells Dumbledore that Voldemort used his blood to resurrect himself, Dumbledore is immediately like, let me see your arm. And then Harry thinks that he sees a gleam of triumph in Albus's eyes just for a second. But then a moment later, he looks the most like exhausted and like older than he's ever looked before. So
what does that mean? I have a genuine question. I don't understand why would Dumbledore feel a moment of triumph that Voldemort can now touch Harry?
So he basically is confirmed. Voldemort has confirmed for Dumbledore, or at least as close as he could confirm, that he needed some type of connection like that to Harry in order to actually defeat Harry, meaning that I think Dumbledore is convinced now that the Horcruxes are indeed what Voldemort did, and now I think he's putting it together that Harry himself is a Horcrux. And that's why I think there's the moment of triumph, and then a moment after he looks so exhausted and like is just devastated because he's like, I was right, but also I didn't really want to be right. But there wasn't another option. That's my theory anyway. That's what I assumed.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
So Harry also goes back over the speech Voldemort gave to like the Death Eaters and to him. And then he tries to explain the whole dueling situation and how that golden globe of light happened, to which Dumbledore names this phenomenon.
The Hollywood Foreign Press Association Golden Globe of Light. Right.
he would have continued to do that throughout the evening too, or if he was like, oh, that didn't go over well. Okay.
Oh, no one clapped.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dumbledore typically is like, well done. Very nice.
Good. Wonderful breath support. Engage your diaphragm, Fox.
I love the idea of him yelling slay. I just keep thinking about it. Slay!
This is the most Ari energy we've ever had.
I know, I'm so sorry. Oh my God.
No, it's so good.
I didn't think about it at all. You can totally edit this out if you need to.
It's staying in.
So Dumbledore names Priori Incantatatem. And I love that like Albus immediately is just like, yes. Priori Incantatem, correct. And basically we learn that this has happened because their wands share the same core, so they're essentially brothers. So any wands that share the same core, they can't work properly against each other. But I want to poke at that a little bit because Ollivander's is the only wand shop in the United Kingdom. I would assume.
Yeah.
So there have to be
unless
multiple.
You're getting it secondhand wands. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's people aren't thinking like, oh, well, we have to duel against each other necessarily. So fair enough if you're looking at it from that angle. But I'm just like, wouldn't there be wands if you're trying to like just like practice spell work with each other? Wouldn't that mean like your wands wouldn't interact properly with each other? I don't know. How come in Order of the Phoenix?
It's a phoenix feather, a unicorn hair. What's the other
one? Phoenix feather, unicorn hair, dragon heartstring.
And
then Fleur has like the hair of a Vila.
Vila hair. Grandma hair.
Yeah. It's the hair of my gran. But
it's my gran's hair.
It's me gran's hair. I just am like, wouldn't that mean there'd be a bunch of other wands that like wouldn't work well against each other? I don't understand. So anyway, whatever. We'll let him have that since it's from Fawkes specifically.
Is it that most creatures don't give more than one to a wand? And it's weird that Fawkes gave 2 feathers. But I don't know how they have so many wands. There's so many wands at Ollivander's.
Is Phoenix
but
feather
also, how long
rare?
have they been sitting there?
Are phoenixes that rare that like Fawkes is the only phoenix?
There is one in the whole series.
Yeah. So I'm like, he's the only, if there are other Phoenix feather wands, they would have to have been from Fawkes. Like it's like these are the only 2 wands that have Phoenix tail feathers.
Well, they're definitely the only 2 that have Fawkes'.
Right, yeah, definitely.
Feathers.
And we don't hear of any other Phoenix, so it has to be just this one.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
But I'm like, if he's getting like a unicorn hair, he has to be getting like a couple at once, not just one.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It doesn't really matter. So after Harry finishes walking them through what happened, at some point when he's telling the story, Fawkes heals the wound in his leg, and then Harry's okay. So we don't have to worry about his leg that's been busted for a month. A month in anxious millennial weeks.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Dumbledore, after Harry recounts everything, is like, I just need you to know that you are so brave. And this is just as brave as, what people were doing when things people were having to do when Voldemort was at the height of his power in the old days. And the fact that you are, 14 years old and you've shown this bravery, like there are plenty of people in the world who would not have been as brave as you just were. And know that. And to which Fox said, yes! No, it's here Fox is silent. He's like, is this okay? After Albus leaves, Fox is like, maybe that was the moment. I should have done it then. Timing. It's all about the timing. So Dumbledore takes Harry down to the hospital wing, and we see Molly, Bill, and then pretty much all the other Weasley kids are there. And Albus is like, wait, right? Fred, George? Yeah, it said all of them.
Fred, George, everybody who's at Hogwarts. So
right, yeah.
Molly, Bill,
so not Charlie,
Fred, George. Yeah.
Yeah, all the Hogwarts Weasleys not and Arthur. Then Hermione are there. And right away, Molly rushes towards Harry, and Albus steps in between them and is just basically like, no questions tonight. I just spent like a whole 30 minutes interviewing him.
Read the first half of the chapter, Molly. Yeah.
I have some gunk in my throat. And then he says that Sirius has transformed back into Padfoot. So he's like, this dog is going to stay with Harry. He's his ESA. Okay?
Yeah. Madame Pomfrey is shook.
Yeah. Poppy is like...
not having it.
Poppy's a cat person. Her and Minnie. She's like...
Minnie is her cat.
Yeah. Because Minnie is a cat.
Yeah.
So they're like, Poppy's like, excuse me. He's like, no. This dog needs to stay with him. To which Molly turns on everyone and is like, he needs to rest, which I thought was funny. I was like, yes, good job, Molly.
That's peak mom energy.
Yes.
Of being, not taking anything on yourself and being like, listen, what did he say? What did he say?
Yeah, turning right to them. Did you hear him? So Dumbledore tells Harry that he wants him to stay there until the next morning, and then he's going to come back and talk to him after he's told everyone, like all the students and faculty, what's happened. And then he goes to see Fudge. So pretty immediately, Harry nods off because he takes that up like half of whatever sleeping draft is given to him.
Yeah. Right.
But he very
famously,
quickly...
What Muggles normally call just a glass of tequila is what we would usually
red
call
wine
that.
is Fleur.
Yeah.
Is Fleur had.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
or liquid Benadryl. Also that.
That's what
maybe
or just a Benadryl. If you have the just regular Benadryl tablets, that's what I take if I can't fall asleep.
Yeah.
I should try the liquid Benadryl. Is that better? Does it kick in faster?
No, it was just a potion, so that's the only reason I specified that it was
clever. Clever. There you go. Yeah, that's what. If you looked in the bottle, you would see it's just pink Benadryl.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, the Muggles. I just get this down the street at CVS.
We have the Costco brand Benadryl.
Oh, yeah.
That like has like 500 pills in one bottle.
Oh, my gosh.
And it's like $5.97. Like it was so cheap.
Whoa.
It's crazy.
Wow, that's wild.
I won't have to buy Benadryl for like, I don't know, 3 more years. I have no idea.
So Harry nods off for a bit, but then wakes up pretty quickly because people are yelling in the hallway. And the people that are yelling are Fudge and Minerva. They're arguing in the hallway, and Dumbledore, like Minnie, Dumbledore is like, Minnie, excuse me. I'm very surprised at you. Like, I thought that you would be with Junior. Which I was a little...
What? Yes.
Wasn't it a little weird?
It was a little weird, especially because... I think if I was listening to it, and I think if I had been reading it, I wouldn't have read the tone the way that Jim Dale has the tone.
Yeah.
But I was like, why is he so... this is the most like queenie, like gay bitch energy to your girl best friend.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah. It was weird. I was like, I don't know.
Bitch, I told you to wait.
Yeah. I was like, huh? But Minerva's having none of it. She is like fully lost it. She is like over the edge. And I actually liked that this was specifically mentioned. That Harry's never seen her like lose her cool like this.
Yes. Yes.
And she says, oh, there's no need to stand guard over him, actually. That's why I'm here, Albus. Which I like to think that she kind of gave it back to him a little bit. Mm-hmm. She was like, well, there's no one to guard. Okay?
There's a husk of a person, as we are about to find out.
We are about to find out. Severus explains that Fudge brought I love that he called him Mr. Fudge too. Severus is like, I'm not even calling you minister.
I will say this is also the first time I think in the whole book series where I've been on Severus Snape's side.
Me too. I was just gonna say that. I was like, this chapter, I actually am like, I'm here for Snape. This was probably one of the few times that I'm actually like, okay.
Yeah.
I do fuck with you.
Definitely the first time so far in our recording of this podcast.
Yeah.
For sure. There's a common enemy. It's Fudge.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So Severus explains about the Dementor, and then Fudge is also furious and like not apologetic at all. And he's like, I'm sorry. I don't need to ask anyone's permission. This was my right as Minister of Magic. And Minerva like cannot even with him. And she's like, I don't even know how to explain to you what I just witnessed this Dementor do to Barty Crouch Jr. But we knowing what Dementors do, we know that Junior's soul just got sucked out of his mouth by a Dementor. And I love how, yeah, exactly like that. I love how Joe writes this.
Delicious.
I love how she writes this moment that she describes Dumbledore looking at Fudge as if he's seeing him for who he really is for the first time, like seeing him clearly for the first time, finally. And I feel like with people like Fudge, because we're about to learn that he's basically like racist. It's just that when you have a gut feeling about someone that like that's something they have like a prejudice like that like they've done a fairly good job at covering up, but it's like there's little things that kind of show up that you're like, interesting. I feel like in this moment, Albus is finally like, oh, this is really who you are, isn't it? Like I've always kind of known, but like I was hoping maybe you would be better than what I was, concerned you actually were, but here you are.
Yeah. At worst, he's a racist. At best, he's like a shitty politician, like everyone else. So
yeah,
you're not. Either way, it's not a great situation that we're in.
Yeah, I think maybe because they have like up until this point, they have been working for similar goals, or Fudge liked having communication with Albus enough that like it worked for him. Like I don't really know. I'm like trying to think. I feel like when I was reading this, I thought of something. It's kind of like, do you remember when very sadly George Floyd was murdered, and there were all of a sudden a lot of kids posting videos on TikTok of them trying to talk to their parents about it. And the kids being just devastated that their parents were like, well, he shouldn't have run, or he shouldn't have given the counterfeit bill. And the kids are just like looking at their parents for the first time being like, oh my God, you're a part of the problem. And so I feel like it's similar in this situation. Obviously Albus is a fully grown adult, but just like being like, oh, you're a part of the problem, and you're going to be a part of the problem moving forward. So Fudge basically is just like, he's crazy. He was crazy. Barty Crouch Jr., he was just insane. He thought he was doing these things under Voldemort's orders. He's crazy. Like, what a lunatic. And Albus is like, he was doing those things under Voldemort's orders, and he's actually back. Voldemort is back. And Fudge just like stares at him and kind of is like, and then Albus very calmly is like, Severus was there, Minerva was there, they both heard it. He confessed
with
under
Veritaserum. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a part of me that wonders if, like, even just subconsciously, Fudge did it because he just wanted to control whatever the situation was. Even if it wasn't.
I'm sure.
Because even if obviously at this point he doesn't know that the story is that Voldemort's back, but like, it's so much easier to control the narrative when you don't have anybody who's able to like tell their side of the story. There's
definitely like we can't create a panic. There can't be a panic. So we can't have anyone.
Right. There was the dark mark in the air at the Quidditch World Cup, so people are already like more anxious than normal. We're going to have to explain that a kid died at the Triwizard tournament.
Yeah. It's like, he just is like, no one else can hear this. I don't want anyone else. I don't want this getting back to anyone else. We're going to deal with this right now, and we're going to shut him up. Or like, pay him off. We're going to just pay him off, and then like, mum's the word.
So there's definitely no right to a trial in the wizarding world. Obviously, right?
I mean, he's an escaped criminal, so you could make the argument that it's just like, because he escaped, he just like he was just death penalty automatically by death by Dementor kiss, basically. And that's why he didn't have a trial. It's very weird. It's once again, it's also weird that like up until this point, we kind of have seen Fudge as just more of like
a doddering kind of.
Yeah. And like, just like a face, like more of he's not actually doing a lot of things. He's just like kind of what's the term for that? Oh my gosh.
Like a figurehead?
Yeah. But that's not what it's just like, for show, like kind of like what the royal family is now. It's just
ceremonial.
Yeah, that's not the word, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. I mean, any of those things that it's just like, he's not actually really doing much. It's just like, he's there to just kind of be like, oh yeah. Rub some elbows and, shake some hands and stuff like that. So after Dumbledore says this, that he's like, I have these witnesses, he confessed under Veritaserum. I don't know what you want me to say. And then he's like, you actually can't question Harry right now because I've already questioned him and he needs to rest. And then Fudge just straight up starts smiling.
We go from bad to like the worst. This is bad. This is bad.
He's just like fully in denial at this point. So Fudge just straight up starts smiling because he just doesn't believe it. And he's like, something weird is going on here. I see what you're doing, Dumbledore. So Fudge asks if Dumbledore is going to take Harry's word for this, to which Harry says, oh, you've been reading Rita Skeeter, haven't you? So, and I do think
everyone's still in the room.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're all in there.
Like,
it's like Harry, Ron, Hermione, all the Weasleys.
To do this because Dumbledore's like, if you go with me to my office, I'll explain what happened. And Fudge wants to have this in public, which I'm like, if you're Fudge, why are you doing that? I would be like, absolutely, let's go, just the two of us. So at least I can tell you that you're wrong and not in front of everybody who would vote for me.
I don't even think he puts much stock in any of the people in that room, though. I think that's kind of a part of the problem, that he's just like, you're all nuts.
Yeah.
So I did think it was funny that no one realized Harry was awake. So when Harry talked, they were like, "Oh."
Yes. Ah!
Yeah. Oh, Harry. Oh. What? You were awake. I didn't realize. So then Fudge is basically like, well, I mean, he has been doing some weird and unusual things, like the weird fits he's been having and falling over all the time. And Albus very calmly is like, I believe that you are referring to when Harry's scar hurts sometimes. And I think that that's actually because there is a connection with Voldemort, because he is the one that tried to kill Harry. And Fudge is just like, this is too much. This is too much. All this kooky stuff you're talking about that you've been covering up. And then Harry yells. But I mean, to be fair, whose business?
Listen, it's not
that?
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, why does Dumbledore have to tell the Daily Prophet like that Harry's that's so stupid to me. I'm like, sorry, you're not entitled to know the personal details of Harry Potter's life, weirdo.
Right.
Sorry, he's a kid. We haven't even gotten into the stuff of like, you're writing these articles about a minor. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
This is my biggest issue with the Wizarding world. There's so many, but that would be my biggest one. Yeah. So Harry yells, I saw him. I saw the Death Eaters. I can actually name them if you want. Lucius Malfoy starts going down the list, and like every single person he says, Fudge is like, all of those people have been cleared. You could have just looked up those records, and that's how your name. I'm sorry. Cornelius, when Harry was in the third task, you think that he had time to go and like read a history book? We know Harry's not reading any history books, okay?
First of all, ask Hermione Granger over there if Harry was in his life.
She's the one that knows. So
he won't even read Hogwarts history.
Yeah, let's start there. That's the book everyone wants to read, and he's not even reading that one. So I'm sorry, when did Harry have time during the third task to go and read these facts about Death Eaters? Like, what are we doing? That was really weird to me. I was like, okay, anyways. But I understand. I think this chapter is so well written, and just that, like, this is exactly how I think Fudge would respond. I am not surprised by him at all.
Right.
So Minerva.
When people show you who they are, believe them.
So Minerva is like, what about Cedric's death? How are you going to try and explain that? And then the real reason that Fudge is in denial comes out, and that's that he doesn't want there to be a panic, and he doesn't want anything to mess up this like very comfortable, ordered world that he's come to know as minister. And he's just like, I don't want to do it. I can't cause a panic. We have to maintain order. What a blah, blah, blah. Something to come with Umbridge. And then Dumbledore basically is just like, okay, you're being stupid. So I'm going to tell you what you need to do. Okay, honey. Dumbledore's like, what you need to do right away is get rid of the Dementors immediately. To which Fudge is like, are you kidding me? That's the only reason I'm sleeping well at night. And Dumbledore's like, well, that's actually why I'm not sleeping well at night, because they're going to side with Voldemort right away. As soon as Voldemort reaches out a hand to them, they're going to be like, oh, yes, we'll happily come with you because we'll just be able to eat corpses.
Interesting.
What?
Interesting. Those who enforce order to some degree are maybe not always on the...
I know. Yeah. I mean, we should have learned this with the whole Crouch situation. That was the whole thing, that it was like he was trying to enforce order so much that he became just as bad. So he mentions to get rid of the Dementors, to which Fudge is like, do you hear yourself? You sound nuts. And then he's like,
defund maybe is what I would say. Maybe defund the Dementors.
Defund the Dementors. To which Fudge is like, pro cop. And then
thin black cloak.
Yeah.
Instead of thin blue line. Stupid, bad.
What is the Ministry of Magic? We don't even know what like the Ministry of Magic flag is. The Wizarding World flag. I don't know if they have one.
Oh yeah.
Then Dumbledore.
What did you call me, Ari? How dare you?
The next thing he says, he's basically just like not even listening to whatever Fudge has to say at this point. He's like, gotta get rid of the Dementors. They suck. And Fudge is like, but. And he's like, and next, you gotta contact the Giants. To which Fudge is like, are you crazy? That would be the end of my career. And then Dumbledore just straight up is like, you are blind by the fact that you have this office and you feel like you need to keep this office, and not to mention you're a fucking racist. So you think it matters, like, if people are born pure blood or not. We just watched, you just let a Dementor suck the soul out of one of the, like, longest pure blood families, and he actually just killed his dad before you did that. So, wow, that really worked out.
Pure blood line. You just ended a line.
Yeah, you just ended one. And that line, it wasn't really working out well for them, was it? Even though they were a pure blood family.
Has nothing to do.
So he's like, you are blind, you're a fool, and you're going to mess this up for yourself. And then he says, if you choose to take action now, you'll be remembered forever as one of the bravest and greatest ministers. But if not, you'll be remembered as the man who stepped aside and let Voldemort take over once again. And Fudge once again is just like, and then Dumbledore takes that as his answer. And he says, if this is where you stand, we have reached a parting of the ways. So you can do what you need to do. And I will do. Yeah, here we are. You can do what you need to do and what you feel is right. And I will do what I feel is right and what I need to do. And this is going to be like, this is like astrology terminology, but it just makes me think of like when someone has been doing a good job of like centering themselves in their energy and like can be a little bit better at being like, it's not a match for me. Like this person, who this person is and who I am just like doesn't fit. And so I'm going to like let them go about their business and I'm going to go about my business. I feel like that's what Dumbledore was trying to say in this moment. Like he is very like centered in who he is. So he's like, okay, I've said all I need to say. You do what you need to do, Fudge, and I'll do what I need to do. But Fudge takes this as a threat. Like it even says the way that Jo wrote it, she's like, this wasn't Dumbledore making a threat. But because Fudge is so intimidated by Dumbledore, he perceives it as a threat. And I'm just like, you're just showing your cards, Cornelius. You're just showing that like Dumbledore is a powerful person is what you're doing.
Cornelius Fudge is literally like, oh, so you just announced that you're running for Minister of Magic. Okay. That's what I'm hearing. Dumbledore's like,
oh, you're coming for my gig. Oh, that's what I heard. Yeah. And so he's like, where is my notes? Hello. Fudge basically is like, now see here. I've let you do whatever you want to do. I've let you do shit at the school that I didn't think that I should be letting you do. But because you are the Albus Dumbledore, I have let you get away with it. Well, no more. No more. I'm not doing it anymore, okay? I'm gonna get you in line, okay? And we're gonna get the school under control. And
stay
Dumbledore
tuned for
is
Order
like
of the Phoenix.
Yeah, for real. And and I do think that as much as like Rita Skeeter's articles, like I was kind of like eye-rolly about them, like I really do understand why they were necessary for this book. And I think that this is a good example of Jo doing a good job of laying the groundwork for what it's about to come. Yes, it's really good. It's really good. Because then
you know what wasn't good?
What?
You know what wasn't useful or necessary in this book that we talked about for weeks on end? Blessed did fucking screws.
I'm surprised you even brought them up again. R.I.P.
Never
R.I.P.
again.
Blast-ended screw. What happens to the one in the maze? We'll never know.
Blessed scroots, may they rest.
So
have some respect for Blast-ended scroots as they have passed recently.
Rest in peace. Last one. Single Blast-ended screw.
Right.
So Fudge is like, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, girl. And Dumbledore is like, Fudge is like, oh, are you saying now you're against me? That's like the last thing he says. And Dumbledore very calmly.
Would you hold it against me? Because you feel like paradise and I need a vacation tonight. What song is that? What is that? I don't even know who sings that. Would you hold it? Oh, girl, it's Britney Spears.
Oh, yeah. That's why I figured it was Britney. It sounded like Britney. Love you, Brit. Happy for you. Happy for you.
Free Britney.
Free Britney. Mm-hmm. Fudge is like, are you against me? Is that what you're saying? And Dumbledore just has like the best responses. He's like, the only person I'm against is Voldemort. So if you are also against Voldemort, we're on the same team, girl. But if you're going to act like he's not back, then yeah, we're probably we're gonna conflict a little bit. Yeah. And Fudge is just, there's like a moment where Fudge is like, he can't be back. Okay. And I feel like maybe in that moment, that's the closest we get to Fudge being able to maybe consider this could have actually happened. And then he just is like, I can't. Another moment, I fuck with Snape in this moment. Severus runs up, pulls up his sleeve.
Hello.
This is like one of the bravest things he's done. I'm like, okay, good for you. He pulls back his sleeve, shows Cornelius his dark mark, and says, here is proof for you. This is what every Death Eater has. This is what it looks like. It's not as dark as it was earlier, but it's here. And then Fudge just like looks at him in shock. But I did want to mention, did you peep that Severus said it was a way for us Death Eaters to distinguish one another? Mm-hmm. So now we know for sure they knew who each other were. So Karkaroff must have just been talking some bullshit to get a better plea bargain. So before Fudge leaves, he's like, you're all nuts. All of you are drinking the Kool-Aid. And then he just drops off the winnings at Harry's bed. He like goes to leave and then like rushes back, drops off the gold, and then is like, congratulations, there's your winnings. We would have had a ceremony, but you know, a boy is dead and not by Voldemort. So I'm going to go.
By a raving lunatic.
I mean, that
can no longer talk because there's no soul.
I just don't yeah, exactly. Like, I just don't understand. So what does he think happened to Cedric? Like, that's my biggest question. What do they end up saying happens to Cedric? It was an accident in the maze and no one really knows what happened, even though Harry is sitting there saying, this is exactly what happened, actually.
I mean, they have to pin the blame. They have to pin the blame on him, on Barty Crouch Jr. That's the easiest way they'll be able to say it. Barty Crouch Jr. they'll probably tell the truth about like he was actually living. He swapped places with it, or not. Maybe not that to that extent, but like
yeah.
He had gotten out of Azkaban,
right?
And he killed his father. He was so upset.
Do they even talk about Barty Crouch Jr.? I'm like trying to. I don't think we really.
I don't think so.
We'll find out.
Get it. I feel like that's the only way that you would be able to spin a story out of everything that happened. That still is plausible enough to like not have more questions.
I think I'm trying to remember in the like beginning of the 5th book. Oh no, they're like telling Harry not to look at the newspapers. Excuse me.
Right.
So I don't know if we know. I don't know if we ever really know what they're saying or what the story is that they're peddling, basically. But as soon as Fudge leaves, Dumbledore is just like, okay, well, if he's going to do that, then we're going to have to get to work, bitches. So he's like, Molly, are you going to help me? Molly's like, of course, we know the truth of what Fudge is. Like, we've always known he's racist. And so then he's like, okay,
Molly who wants to own a house elf.
No, I was just about to say, I was like, this is interesting because Molly will say stuff like that. But then I'm like, you want a house elf. And also like your son is like racist towards giants. So what, Muggles are okay, but not house elves. And anyway, this is what I'm saying, that like, this is like an issue. I take issue with Joe when things like this happen. Cause I'm like, no, it has to make sense. So Dumbledore, Molly agrees to help Dumbledore. Dumbledore then is like, can someone get in contact with Arthur? And Bill's like, yeah, I can do it. No problem. And he's like, okay, we need to make sure it's like hush hush though, because if Cornelius gets wind that I'm like, messing with stuff at the ministry, he'll never get over it. And Bill's like, no, I'm good. I can be discreet. And then Albus asked Minerva to gather. Oh, wait, wasn't there? Oh, no, never mind. It's coming up. So Albus asked Minerva to gather Hagrid and Madame Maxime in his office if Madame Maxime will come. And then finally he asked Poppy to go and get Winky from Moody's office because she's been there this whole time, apparently. So he's like, go comfort Winky, and then you can take her to the kitchen and hopefully Dobby will look after her.
They're in the hospital wing at this moment.
Yeah.
Isn't real Moody also on one of the beds in here?
Yeah.
But he's just like passed out.
Yeah, I think at some point in the chapter they say that like he's like covered up by the like panels or whatever. So then after Poppy leaves, he's like, okay, 2 of you need to see who each other really are. Reveal yourself. Reveal. to which Sirius is like, okay, man form. And Molly screams and she's like, it's Sirius Black. And he's like, yeah, it's cool. Ron's like, Mom, it's fine. It's cool. Be cool, Mom. Be cool, Mom.
He's an animagus, not a giant, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine because he's a human, okay?
Yeah.
So then Snape is like, why is he here? What is he doing here? They glare at each other. Albus is like, you guys need to get over the shit, and I'm going to have to make you guys shake hands right now because you're being stupid. And he's like, you're on the same side now, okay? So get over it. So they shake hands very quickly. They can't wait to let go of each other's hand. It's very dramatic. And then Dumbledore asks Sirius to go get Lupin, Mrs. Fig, Arabella Fig, and Mundungus Fletcher. And then like whoever the other, he's like, and the old crew. And he tells him to stay with Lupin and lie low until they hear from him. And then he turns to Severus and he says, you know what I must ask of you. Are you prepared? Or if you are prepared. You know what I must ask of you if you are prepared. And Severus looks kind of pale and like doesn't look very excited about whatever they're talking about. But he's like, I'm ready. And so this is the one moment where I'm like, good job, Severus. There's a lot of shit you're not doing right. And I will remind you. We will remind you. But in this moment, when we needed you to show up, you showed up. So good on you, Sev.
But even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah.
And that's what's important to remember.
And that is this moment for Severus. So all you Snape lovers out there, this is the one we're giving him. We're giving him this chapter.
This is the one chapter we will give this man.
Yeah.
I'll see you again in, I think, book 6. I don't even think we're going to discuss anything in book 5. Because that's Clemency, right?
Clemency. Yeah, it's terrible. It's so bad. Occlumency is like the worst. Yeah. I'm like, if there was going to be a redemption arc for him, it could have happened in that book, and it never did. So that was the opportunity. So Severus goes on about his merry way. So does Sirius. And then Dumbledore says that he has to go talk to the Diggories. And I was like, oh my, I mean, the Diggories have been with Professor Sprout, I think, at least. Like they haven't been alone. But I'm just like, oh my God, like he hasn't even gotten to see the Diggories yet. Like that made me sad.
Yeah.
And so then Molly, mentions the Harry should drink the rest of his sleep potion. And then she's like, you should think about what you're going to do with your winnings, which is like such a mom thing to be like, let's think about something else. But it's like, it's so, you can't just be like, oh yeah, I'll think about something happy right now. So it's hard when my mom does that a lot. Like she'll be like, well, let's talk about this. And I'm like, I can't, Mom. I'm like sad right now. I can't just like all of a sudden be like, oh yeah, my Triwizard winning. And Harry's like, Fox from upstairs. Go on,
Queen! And then he's like, okay, this one was the right moment to lift everybody's spirits back up.
Yeah, this was the time.
I got it this time.
I love the idea. I love the idea of him just being like, slay, only to be like, oh, not the right moment.
Oh, big slay, no big slay.
No big slay. Oh, okay. I'll just cry. I'll just cry on your knee. Oh my God, that's so funny. That's like my new favorite bit that we've done. The Hey Girl boss and now Fox. It's so funny.
We get one a book. A book.
Yeah, this was the one.
That's why you stick through 37 weeks with us.
Oh, yeah,
one bit.
We got it for that one bit. So Harry, when Molly's mentioning the Triwizard winnings, Harry's like, that's not, I don't want that. I don't want anything to do with that gold. Anyone can have it, really, actually. Take it. You guys take it. And he's like, it should have been Cedric's. It shouldn't.
He says it should have been Cedric's.
Yeah.
He says it should have been. Oh, this is the saddest part, and I actually started crying when I was reading this.
Yeah.
And then it gets ruined by Hermione, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Oh no, I know. No, I still made a note to talk about this. He's like, it's not mine, and Molly's like, you couldn't have done. I think she said something like, you couldn't have done anything, right? He's like, I asked him, or I asked him to.
I think she's like, there's no way you could have known, or something like
yes, that. Right. There's no way you could have known. He was like, I'm the one. It's my fault. Like, I asked him to grab the cup with me.
The thing against which he had been fighting on and off ever since he had come out of the maze was threatening to overpower him. This is so well written. I'm so sorry to give her a compliment.
No, it's great. It is.
He could feel a burning, prickling feeling in the inner corners of his eyes. He blinked and stared up at the ceiling. It wasn't your fault, Harry, Mrs. Weasley whispered. I told him to take the cup with me, said Harry. Now the burning feeling was in his throat, too. Mrs. Weasley set the potion down on the bedside cabinet, bent down, and put her arms around Harry. He had no memory of ever being hugged like this, as though by a mother. The full weight of everything he had seen that night seemed to fall in upon him as Mrs. Weasley held him to her. His mother's face, his father's voice, the sight of Cedric dead on the ground, all started spinning in his head until he could hardly bear it, until he was screwing up his face against the howl of misery fighting to get out. Then there was a slamming noise.
Yeah.
Just let him cry. Why is he not allowed to cry?
She had to get the you know who.
I know, but
I know. It is a little. I'm like, could we have let him have just a little bit more of a moment? Mm-hmm. So there's a slam. And Harry and Molly break apart to see Hermione, who we're assuming must have hit the window because she's standing next to the window and has something in her hand. A dust bunny. She's
a very clean person.
She's like the windowsill.
Yeah.
And then Harry drinks the rest of the potion and he falls asleep pretty much immediately. Chugs that Benadryl and he's out.
Yeah. Lights out for Mr. Harvey Porter. Harvey Porter
and the tankard of flame.
I love that. This might be my favorite magical thing in this book is a dreamless potion in which you like drink it and immediately pass out and you don't have dreams. You just like are in a coma.
I'm sorry. How are they not giving these to the students all the time? I want one.
How has Harry never drank this before? Girl, he's having no one. You know this little boy is having dreams every other night.
How has no one drank this before? We haven't heard about anyone having this.
How am I not drinking this right now?
Yeah. Do you know, I think the last like 2 nights I was like, I need to take a Benadryl. I am not sleepy at all. Like like lying awake. Yeah. It's because the wedding is so soon. I'm just like
2.5 weeks before your wedding. Yeah.
Literally last night I was like, I'm not tired. My mind is racing. And Michael was like, what are you thinking about? And I was like, I have to make this appointment and then I have to do this and then I have to do this and then I also have to do that. And then I can't forget about this thing.
It's just like North Korea nukes us right in the middle of the ceremony.
I mean, I have thought about like, what if there's an earthquake the day of our wedding or like things like that, you know, what if it rains?
I almost said earthquake, and then I was like, well, that's a little too plausible. She's actually probably thought of that.
No, it's fine. I mean, today is Friday, September 9th, and it's like raining right now. So just the fact that our wedding is on a Friday, I'm like.
That's it. That's the chapter. That wraps up this chapter. Next week, we'll be reading the final chapter called number 37. It's called The Beginning. It's the end, but it's the beginning.
I can't believe we're here. I can't believe we're at the final chapter, to be honest. It's kind of crazy.
It's crazy. I can't believe we haven't missed a week.
I know. Well, we did like, if we missed one, we scheduled.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like a makeup time. So we were pretty good.
For like almost a full month now, we've been like the week of. Like I've had like a very smaller turnaround than normal.
Yes. Bless you.
We've been nailing it. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you find your podcasts, as well as video versions on the Ampliverse YouTube channel and on Spotify. Did you know? Were you aware?
News to you, huh?
Newts to us. As always, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so we can get a perfect Newt score, 5 stars only, or else your ways will be parted.
No, or else you'll have a phoenix that'll come in the middle of a very sad moment for you to go,
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at HBAnxious or YouTube and TikTok at The Ampliverse. I did have to yell at RJ because he hasn't even been posting the TikToks. And I was like, you haven't been posting them. And he was like, oh, was I supposed to? And I was like, no one else has the login, girl.
The TikTok, he was like, Harry Potter is huge on TikTok.
He was like, well, where do I find the videos? I was like, on our computer. In our
Google Drive.
It's right. He doesn't even get on Google Drive. It's on our local hard drive.
Oh, right. Of course. Yeah. That reminds me, I need to upload the newest one.
I've had some notes for our production staff. So
they've been given. Our production staff knows.
We are hosted on Anchor. And we are recorded on Zencastr, so thank you to the both of them. And we are a proud member of the Ampliverse, even when the owner of the Ampliverse fucks up our TikTok account.
Doesn't represent us well.
Talking about at theampliverse.com. Thank you, Ari.
Thank you, Adam.
And as always,